Live from the Cat Cave Studios, this is Cat News 24 Carbon 19 Special. Welcome to Cat News 24 and the Carbon 19 Special with me, David Beckham Bowie. Headlines this evening. The amount of those owning carbon-plated soled shoes increases by 694 in the last 24 hours. Stricter measures to curb the amount of road running to be announced. The government criticised for failing to prevent the purchase of so-called cheat shoes. Figures of those owning carbon-plated running shoes has risen sharply again today ahead of what is expected to be further tightening of the rules by the government. The now daily briefing is due to be held in the next few minutes, and as soon as it starts, Cat News 24 will bring you live coverage. Today's briefing is believed to be led by the Minister of State for Running, Videos and Felines, the Right Honourable Jin Jerkat. It's widely expected that Mr Jerkat will announce further race cancellations and postponements to try and limit the amount of carbon shoes being purchased. This is following criticism from some quarters that the government is not doing enough, with opposition leader, Car Driver, saying that all road races must be cancelled for the rest of the year, and indeed evermore. Well, I'm joined now by our senior athletics correspondent, Mr Richard Wellblack, to discuss the implications of the possible new measures. But before that, I'm hearing the press briefing is about to start, so now let's go live to Downing Street. Well, good afternoon, folks, and let me start by saying a big thank you to all those independent running shoe shops in your efforts in refusing to take extra money by selling and spreading carbon-soled shoes. It's really the frontline staff like you, the real heroes. The measures that we've put in place over the last few weeks are having some effects, as the Chief Technical Officer will go through with you later. However, despite this, we feel now is not the time to relax these rules. Indeed, we feel they should be tightened further. To that end, we are limiting the amount of running to 1 hour a day, and that running has to be done within 2 miles of your house. No other running is to be done except this, and the police have been given powers to detain, interrogate and fine anyone flouting these rules. In addition, if any current carbon sole owner is found outside running in carbon shoes, they will not only be arrested but tortured, and all their Strava segments erased, including any records before carbon was available. There will also be an extension to the road race ban until August 2020. This to exclude virtual road races as long as they can be proven to have been run in old school shoes. Strava is liaising with the security services to monitor this. Let me say that no government wants to impose these kind of restrictions on the running community. And I know that for a lot of people, particularly those who don't run, you really don't give a monkeys. But it's very important if we are to keep our sport old school, and we don't have to rewrite the record books. So, for more information on how your efforts have helped so far, let me hand you over to the Chief Technical Officer, Gate Analysis. Gate. Okay. Thank you, Secretary of State for Running, Videos and Felines. I want to start by thanking everyone for the sacrifice they've made so far. And although the Secretary of State has announced tighter controls, I wanted to reassure everyone in the old school running community that these measures are really having the desired effect. It's very important at the moment for me to share some charts and graphs with you at this point. You can see that currently we still have a number of charts, including pie charts and bar charts. The aim all along is to try to reduce the amount of bar charts and squash down on the amount of graphs. Remember, these restrictions were only put in place a few days ago, so may take a few extra days before we see the effect. So it's vital that everyone follows the government guidance. Secretary of State. Okay. Thank you, Chief Technical Officer. And I'd now like to hand over to the First Lord of the Shoe Shop, Steve Wardmill for an update on the current financial package the government has offered. Steve. Thank you, Secretary of State, for running videos and felines. Let me first start by saying carbon-plated shoes are bloody expensive. The government calculates you will save on average £150 per pair of racing shoes if you can get carbon-19 purchase down. To that end, the government can today announce that anyone who does not purchase carbon-plated running shoes can claim free gait analysis. This scheme will be rolled out across the country, and we aim to be doing gait analysis testing at the rate of 1,500 people per week by the end of April 2022. Well, thank you, First Lord of the Shoe Shop. Well, folks, that's all from us, but I believe we have some questions remotely from the media. Right, can I start with my favourite? That's Laura K-Swiss from the BBC.
Well, thank you, Secretary of State, for running videos and felines. First, can I ask a question that's easy for you to answer, which is why I'm your favourite? Obviously, I'm not expecting an answer, but nonetheless important, I think, in the current climate. And secondly, can I ask if any of you are free for dinner tonight?
Well, thank you, Laura. And in answer to your first very important question, yes, you saw the graphs earlier. That clearly showed very little detail, but that doesn't really matter. And thank you for such an easy question. In answer to your second point, well, you're not really my cup of tea, love. So I'll hand you over to the First Lord of the Shoe Shop. Ooh, actually, may I just jump in here, just to say, Laura, yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, FaceTime me later, yeah? Right, fine. Okay, so the next question is from Kathy New Balance, Channel 4 News.
Thank you, Secretary of State, for running videos and felines. Is it not true that the proliferation worldwide of carbon-plated running shoes was started by Nike, the same company who funded a coaching setup in Oregon that was recently disbanded due to allegations of athlete doping, which would fall into the same category as cheat shoes?
Right, okay, and, thank you, Kathy. I think the line was a bit broken up there. I couldn't quite hear what you were saying, love. So perhaps we should end it there. Well, thanks again, everyone, and please remember the motto: save money, keep your old school shoes, and save our sport. Together, we can beat this thing. Thank you. Well, the Secretary of State there for running videos and felines, closing that press briefing. And some stern words there from the government about staying at home and trying to limit the amount of running and therefore the temptation to purchase carbon-soled shoes. Just a further line now coming out of government from our correspondent Fiona Brooks is that the Prime Minister himself has now been found to own a pair of Nike Next 4%. In fact, he was due to have hosted that press conference, but due to the carbon plate sole, he was 10 minutes early and had already finished before anyone else got there. He's been advised to self-isolate for the next 14 days and only wear Dunlop Green Flash. Our thoughts and prayers are with him. But to finish on a more light-hearted story. As runners struggle with filling their time during the carbon-19 lockdown, one man has taken to making his own videos for Facebook. Dave Cresswell has been making various videos from his home in Gloucester and sharing them on social networks for his friends' entertainment. Cresswell said, "Help, I'm going mad. Living on my own and never seeing a single soul all day is killing me. I even have to run on my own, and it's the only time I get to go out all day. Help, someone please help." Speaking to our reporter, Robert Peston-Reebok, Cresswell also said, "Can people please also remember I am originally from Charlton Kings." Well, it's nice to end on a bit of good news, isn't it? Anyway, that's all from me. I'll be back again the same time next week, and until then, here's a message from our sponsors.